So what does the media do during a rough time for the Democrats when Joe Biden is reading teleprompters where you have Nancy Pelosi going to a salon, or a saloon she probably thought, and getting a haircut, and then throwing the owner under the bus when she gets caught for not wearing a mask, and a booming numbers in terms of polling and also economic numbers, unemployment, way lower than expectations. What does the media do? What do you think they do? They're going to use fake news. Let's talk about that. So by now, I'm sure you've seen this article in The Atlantic, or at least heard about it on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter or whatever, basically saying Trump called fallen troops, fallen heroes, suckers and losers, and didn't want to go to the funeral for these people or ceremony at a cemetery for these honored veterans and honored soldiers. Well, comes to find out that The Atlantic is actually owned by a Biden supporter, a Megadonor, and he reportedly communicates often with journalists behind anonymously sourced Trump bombshell. So it sounds like this is just another fake news story, which we already knew that because the Trump administration was able to put out the actual release from the military saying that this was a weather event. It was raining and they canceled it. I heard one report which said that President Trump didn't want to do it because he didn't want his hair to get damaged. I mean, how stupid is that? I mean, we've seen before that he's done events where his hair is out and flustered with wind and rain. That's just a silly assessment, but of course they want to just frame a narrative. And so here it says here that the billionaire philanthropist Laurene Powell Jobs, I'm sorry, it's not even a female, it's not even a man, it's a female, it's the ex-wife of Steve Jobs, the majority owner of The Atlantic, has donated over $1.2 million to former Vice President Joe Biden and other Democratic candidates and groups since 2019. Federal Election Commission's records show Powell Jobs owns 70% stake in The Atlantic. That's a lot. And she reportedly communicates often with its editor-in-chief, Jeffrey Goldberg. Goldberg published an anonymously sourced story Thursday alleging that President Trump had denigrated fallen American soldiers. Now, if anyone has been following President Trump would know, he is one of the, if not the most, at least since Reagan, pro-military presidents we've had. I mean, just going back to Mar-a-Lago with the flag, if you know anything about that, go back and look at that story. I mean, the man is a patriot and he loves this country. He is not going to make these kind of comments. And he disproved that. There's 11 separate sources debunking all of this, including John Bolton. I get to him in a second. However, and John Bolton, if you don't know, is not a friend of Trump. Okay. So here's the story, and it comes on the heels of Salongate, Nancy Pelosi. It comes on the heels of a huge unemployment number that came in way down from expectations. Also dealing with Joe Biden, his telepromptering and his just doing Joe on the stump. He's just being him and not being a presidential type person. All of this has been looking really, really bad for the Democrats, not to mention the poll numbers have been going down. And so this is something that they can run with and take people's minds off of what's going on and hopefully take away some of his support with veterans. And so the Atlantic majority owner has donated $1.2 million to Democratic candidates. We mentioned that. So says she also is the widow of former Apple CEO Steve Jobs. She obtained a 70% stake in The Atlantic in 2017 through her firm, Emerson Collective. In November, she further solidified her control over the magazine after its longtime chairman, David Bradley, said he was going to step away from management, according to Politico. And so, so it looks like here that Jobs contributed $2,800 to former Vice President Joe Biden's primary campaign in October. And in June, she divided out an additional $610,600 to the Biden Victory Fund. She's also provided maxed out donations to at least 66 other Democratic politicians since the start of 2019, all the while providing nothing to Republican candidates, according to Federal Election Commission records. I'll leave a link to this article below. You can check it out for yourself. Other notable Democrats that Powell Jobs has contributed to this election season include former Democratic presidential candidates Cory Booker, Tom Steyer, Amy Klobuchar, Andrew Yang, Michael Bennet. FEC records show she also contributed to House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, Democratic Representatives Joe Kennedy, Ayanna Pressley, Eric Swalwell, and Adam Schiff, the record show. The Atlantic was the first outlet to report that Joe Biden was running for president in April 2019. Bradley, who's still identified as the Atlantic's chairman in the magazine's masthead, served as board member of the now defunct Biden Cancer Initiative. Goldberg and Powell's Jobs did not return the request for comment. Of course, if Powell's Job had any involvement in or any advanced knowledge of Goldberg's anonymously sourced story, the report published Thursday evening alleged that Trump called for soldiers, losers, and suckers during a 2018 trip to France. Yeah, I'm sure he would do that. And then you have Votes Vets. They put an ad out. They stayed up all night to do that. And Joe Biden said here that he's never been as disappointed in my whole career. Yeah, I doubt that. And absolutely damnable if it's true that Trump made disparaging comments about fallen soldiers, fallen troops. And again, the White House put out released a redacted memo of the military saying that this was a weather cancellation. Okay. And so again, the White House had more than 11 sources debunk this. Not only that, from the military, but also from his staff and from people like John Bolton. Let's go to him right now. John Bolton says here, he says that did Trump refuse visit cemeteries because soldiers were losers and suckers? Not really, according to John Bolton. Update, it was a straight weather call. It was a weather call, and we had that information right here from the White House. Jeffrey Goldberg knew from the Atlantic Trump skipped a visit to the military cemetery in France after calling the dead losers for getting killed. Full story here. Yeah. I mean, that's just ridiculous. And Bloomberg News reporter Jacobs tweeted Thursday that she was told by Trump administration officials that it would have taken 3 hours to drive the president to the cemetery. 3 hours. Now, that's something that I just don't. First of all, it's an unnamed source and it's been debunked by the White House themselves. So that should be really all of it. But the media is still pressing with the story. Why? Because they think it can have traction. They think they can gain momentum for the election. They are seeing their poll numbers go tanking down, and they got to do something. And so here we have Sarah Huckabee Sanders talk about Dan Scavino. I was with the president in France with Sarah and have been at his side throughout it all. Complete lies, all anonymous sources that were chopped just as he begins to. Now, this is something that they do. This is something that the military does. Jason Whitlock put out a good article today about how the Washington Post mischaracterized him and basically proved it in a 30-minute video. This is not related to this particular video. I'm not going to talk about it here, but other than that. But he basically laid out how the leftist media operates. They don't care about the truth. They want to drive forth a narrative, and then they're going to pick and choose what facts they think they have, throw in some anonymous sources to give it some suitable credibility, and then run with it. They don't care. And they know that the people in their particular circle will run with it. And that's what's happened here. And so the White House said in a statement at the time that the President Trump's visit to the cemetery was canceled due to scheduling and logistical difficulties caused by the weather, and that former White House Chief of Staff John Kelly, whose son was killed while serving in Afghanistan, went instead. And so what do you think about this article? What do you think about what the media's trying to do? Do you think it's going to have any effect on people who have been with the campaign for a while, or do you think it's just going to inflame people who already hate the president? Let me know in the comments below. And if you like what we do in this channel, we take culture, TV, movies, and politics and filter it to you the right way, then please click the like and subscribe button and that bell icon so you don't miss any future content. And also, please share with your friends as we're trying to reach 10,000 subscribers. As always, please check out some content that we have right here.